Good afternoon. Hope you're good. Hope you can hear me. And I'm coming from the parking lot. That's very American, isn't it? The car park of my kid's nursery. I've changed my childcare afternoon this week, partly because I'm going to Therapy Expo tomorrow, and so I would normally have my twins tomorrow afternoon. I've now got them this afternoon, and so I forgot about that, and I planned this show. And so I'm doing it from the car park for a bit. Now, if I just cut off and everything goes dead, that could be signal, but it also just could be the battery on this laptop. Um, so yeah, we're chancing it. So let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me know if the signal's stable. If it's not working, it's not working, and we'll bail this show. And I'll post some stuff on social media about what I was about to talk about. But yeah, those that haven't heard, there's a therapy expo on in person, which is relevant, isn't it, these days, in the NEC, Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So I'm going to talk about what's on there, what we're doing, where we're going. Well, yeah, I want to ask you guys, if you're tuning in live, especially those that, especially if you can hear me okay, are you going? If not, why not? Have you heard of it? Just blurt your thoughts out on Therapy Expo. Have you been before? Years gone by. I know it wasn't on last year for obvious reasons with the pandemic and stuff. But also, I don't think they did any sort of virtual offering or anything like that. But yeah, it's back, and so we're going along. And so I'm interested in your thoughts. If you're tuning in live, then let me know as to your thoughts on Expo, whether or not you're going to be there. And if you are, then great, we'll be able to catch up and have a drink, because we're there on mainly, like, it's 90% social for us. We just wanted to go and meet some people, which I think is really relevant, right? So that's the upside, is that we're going to get together with some of our friends in person and go out for some drinks and just soak up some atmosphere and get together with other therapists. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Right. So we've not been able to do that. All of these Therapy Live and other webinar-based platforms. That is the thing that's missing, is that shoulder to shoulder, face to face contact. And so that's going to be great. Really looking forward to that. Now, as a education as a conference offering, which it is, and it's an expo, but as a conference offering, I think it is very different to what I'm most into. I think that's fair to say. I like, we produce Therapy Live and other Physio Matters live events. We did the Big R's conferences and things like that. Is that it's like educational content is the primary, and then everything else, including the party, although that's probably something close second, but just putting together a show around it is different. It is the primary, and then it's an expo type event like this, and there are other examples of it, like with Elevate, which is more of a fitness show, and it had then built Copa, which you might have heard of years gone by. Those are sort of commercial expos that have education bolted onto them, and that's relevant because it depends who's going to be presenting and speaking and what topics and themes and stuff is based on the commercial enterprises that are exhibiting and sponsoring and stuff like that. And then the education is part of the sales pitch, right? And I'm not calling that, by the way, and it's not to my taste. So I'm not going to pretend to be all Switzerland on this, right? It's not. Given the choice, of which I had the choice, is that I would prefer to have an educational conference that then has networking and then other commercial elements associated to it, than a commercial conference that then uses education to that end. But when it comes to getting together face to face with people, I think that's just absolutely brilliant. So anything that these days, anything that can do that is good. Now, some of our partners are going to be there. So the school, Rehab My Patient. There's also people like STA that are good friends of ours, like Matt Phillips is going to be doing some live podcasting and stuff like that. So we're going to get together. Some of the speakers, people like Uzo and Mike and James Clem Inshaw. So I'm going to talk about some of the sessions to go to, but they're going to be there, and just people that you want to go and have a drink with and catch up, and people I haven't seen for a long time because of the pandemic. So sometimes these are just dates in the diary to put in just to go and get together, regardless of why, which is fab. And so, especially because our network is sort of very multidisciplinary now, so like the Therapy Expo is, you know, this massage therapists and sports therapists and osteos and chiros and stuff. And so you got like a mixed bag, and that's representative of our network now. My signal looks like it just dropped off. Am I back? Am I still here? Like, I don't know if I'm just talking into the ether and the car park. This might be a big mistake and it might not be working. I mean, Leanne has said woohoo, and so I don't know if that means that it's working or not, or she's just celebrating that. Maybe she's saying that woohoo to the fact that we're going to Expo. Maybe she is as well. That'd be cool. We'll catch up with Leanne, have a drink with Leanne. That'd be fun. With regards to, oh, Scousebooks is back. That means I went away, I imagine. So, yeah, sorry if it's unstable, guys, but we'll keep going. We'll keep trucking. I don't want to pull my punches too far. It's like I look at the schedule and it's like if I didn't have mates that I was going to catch up with or our partners were exhibiting and stuff like that, like I wouldn't be going to this show as an educational experience, right? I don't look at the schedule and think, you know, I don't want to, that's a must, you know, do not miss that session. That's a cultural landmark educational experience that's going to translate the latest, greatest thinking in either research terms or some style of practice that someone needs to share. Like, and historically, Therapy Expo had a bit of that flavour to it, right? You had Mike Stewart, Joe Gibson, you had even Joe Elphiston. You had people that were innovators that were then educating alongside the Expo. Whereas now, for whatever reason, it's now pretty much all it's all commercial driven. Now that doesn't mean there aren't some brilliant sessions in there, and that's what's cool about this stream is that when I then looked at it, I wrongly thought, oh, it's just going to all be about devices and gadget laden. It's just that there's kind of, it's a bit more, to use old language, it's a bit biomedical, and so that's where, you know, you kind of look on even some of the more exercise or rehab based sessions, at least in the title and the description, which you can't judge them all on, right? You can't judge a book by its cover completely, but it's sort of, the implication is that there's going to be some algorithms, there's going to be some fixes, there's going to be some cheats, there's going to be some, this particular flavor of tape in this direction is going to solve this particular pathology and stuff. And it's just like that content, you know, it's not for me, it's not to my taste. Otherwise, we'd create it, right? We're an educational platform after all, and we do events. But there's so much across different little rooms and streams and that I looked at it and I was able to map a course of rehab focused education from some brilliant thinkers and people. So there are a couple of days of education in there. So let me just show you a glance. I'm sorry, I just ended up having to screenshot the notes. I couldn't make anything pretty, but right, look at this. Right, this is on Wednesday the 24th. This is just a little bit of a route through, start to finish, which also includes some stuff that we're doing, which obviously I'll tell you about in a second. But let's just, so you've got Tim Allardyce is up from Rehab My Patient. He's on doing some demos early doors. And then you go into Uzo, making better program decisions for your team using clinical data. I know what he's like. He'll be using things like dynamometry or wearable tracking and stuff, and how that can inform your load management, which is brilliant. I know Matthew's talking about Shockwave, one of the most credible voices in that space. I'm sure there's going to be lots of Shockwave therapy talks on this. I'm pretty sure there is, because I looked at the schedule. But Benoy is brilliant. Oh, look, I can look around the frame. Can you see me? Oh, yeah. And then you've got the Massage Collective. Now, you'll notice their name comes up twice each day. That's Becky, Anna, and Matt from the Massage Collective that run the Massage Matters podcast and the school. They are obviously, you know, in my opinion, they are the shit in this space, and they've got some really good sessions that are going to sort of span a lot of their core opinions, which is great. So I definitely don't want you to miss out on those. They're going to be brilliant, and it means that I'm going to join them on their stand then, followed by where we're going to talk, as far as I'm aware, about, they want to understand my views on the position of massage therapy and MSK practice and stuff. I think that's what they've asked me to do. Followed by, I'll bring this back up in a second, but followed by then going on to the Rehab My Patient stand, where I'm going to do some work to explain a little about my complex case rehab and how I use some of the tools and software that Rehab My Patient offers, because it's so quick, to just try to get a change in people, to get them moving, when realistically it's the habit change that's sort of central to their care. So that's going to be one of the things that I talk about on the Rehab My Patient stand. But that's kind of one of the things. We're going to be there as guests of these two organisations, the school and Rehab My Patient. As you see, Massage Collective ends up having a bit of a clash with our mate Mike James, but I'm going to be talking about rehabbing and leading into, to some degree, his session on exercise prescription. And then if you look at that at the end there, Pete Thane, I don't know if you know of Pete, but I think he's a sports therapist by background, but just one of those brilliant MSK thinkers that you would just, if you've not paid attention to his stuff. I don't know him in person. Like, I hope to meet him, because he's definitely someone that's on my short list that, like, we want to talk to him about a few things. But he's always been, I think he did his PhD in cryotherapy and the application of ice and some myth busting about that. So he's like one of those people. He knows enough about a subject. He's not trying to overplay its utility, but also doesn't like it when people dismiss it out of hand as well, because, you know, it has its utility. So he's always really smart in how he negotiates the use of that sort of thing. And so hopefully I'll catch him in person, because I'd love to meet, like, his work and stuff like that. So as I've just shown you, right, you go through the day on multiple different streams, you can navigate it, and I reckon you could get a decent day's education in there. I don't know where I'm going to be pulled, between and do some networking and stuff like that. And then obviously in the evening, definitely just going to enjoy some drinks. Me, Jim, Sarah, who's our managing director across the business group, Sarah Ford, she's going to be with us, and then Gemma Oliver is going to be in the blue as well. So she'll be there. That's the four of us from Physio Matters that are going to be there. But I think even like other associates that we have, like Steve Miller apparently is there with Physique, as well as I've heard from a few of you on social media that are going to be there with different brands. So it's pretty cool. There's going to be some great people that I'm going to really enjoy having a drink with, especially because, you know, we've not got any major obligations throughout the 2 days. So we are there, as I said, 90% social, which is cool. So let me know what you're looking forward to. Let me know if you're not going, why you're not going, and what you think of it generally as a show. Do you think I'm being harsh to say what I've already said? This is the Thursday, so I'm calling it the Rehab Route. So this is the journey through what you could do on Thursday. There's a few clashes at the end of the day, I know, because I was just torn, but it's just giving you an insight, right? So Jen Wilson, I think she's from Derby University, but she's on early talking about managing injuries in elite sport. Would be really interesting. Chris Norris, always interesting to hear from. He's talking about hamstring mechanics, and I think that's things you can sometimes get some of these educators. Or, you know, I just definitely would vouch for the way that they think. They're brilliant. But especially, I'm going to go into the Rehab My Patient stand, and I'm going to talk a little bit about complex rehab cases and the ways in which you might scale someone's function. I'm going to try and do it as a lead-in, as a bit of a preamble for Uzo, who's on afterwards on the demo zone. So if you see that, it's time-efficient assessment of the hip flexor region for your lower limb patients. I'm going to therefore put a lower limb focus to my little chatter on the Rehab My Patient stand. So come and join us over on the Rehab My Patient stand. I'm going to do a bit of a warm-up act for the brilliant Uzo Ekiog, who's going to be on shortly afterwards. Then, if you notice, you can go into what I think is going to be probably my pick of the sessions across the both days, is assessing the person through a biopsychosocial lens, the subjective assessment, right? So when temptation from massage therapists is sometimes just think, right, if someone's booked half an hour with you, they just want half an hour's worth of hands-on care, and you will therefore miss stuff. You won't contextualize your hands-on treatment. You won't negotiate how you might integrate that into rehabilitation. And I think that is a mistake. And so you'll notice in the afternoon, getting the client off the couch, blending rehab strategies into massage therapy sessions. So the Massage Collective, Matt Sieri, Matt Scars, Becky DeMorton, the best in class in this space for bring a journey with them as to how you can integrate therapeutic touch with your quality MSK care. And so go to their sessions, basically, look at them. I'm talking with them on stand at 1:10 till 1:45, which overlaps slightly with some of the bits. And so I'm suggesting you go to hamstring rehab with Tim. After that, their Massage Collective are on, and then it finishes with Claire Minshall. If you've not seen Claire's work, then, I mean, she's on earlier as well with Matt Phillips on the STA room, but I can't remember, it must have overlapped with something. But Claire is talking about adjuncts to rehab with blood flow restriction. Now, I'm someone that's like always talking about gadgets and gizmos and saying about how you don't really want to be If that's the center of your treatment universe, then you're probably missing something important. But as adjuncts and accessories, I think there's some really fascinating stuff coming through. And Claire is really good at contextualizing that. She's obviously famed for her S&C work and has spoken on Physio Matters and Therapy Live more recently about all of that sort of stuff. But she's also someone that's written really well on blood flow restriction and integrating that within rehabilitation and therapies, as well as then sometimes even whole body vibration. So she's someone that is just really good at bringing the evidence to bear as to say, this is what it does, this is what it doesn't do. Don't overplay its effects, but similarly, don't fail to utilize it where sensible to enhance your results and outcomes, which is brilliant. And that is something that I think I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on some of the ungimmicky devices and hear from some of the modalities that I think have a place. You know, things like shockwave, which I mentioned that Ben Oy's on the Wednesday, and the blood flow restriction. Just a bit of a spoiler on that, by the way. I've tested as a clinic. We have tested so many blood flow restriction products, and there's a brilliant one that's new out by Vald, which are wireless air cuffs. I think they're called air bands. And I don't know if Vald are on at Therapy Expo, but just on BFR, we've tested devices that are all across the spectrum of cost as well as quality. And yeah, fair play to Val. Their air bands are very good. So I don't know if Val are even there, but they're certainly worth checking out. I bet they've got some sort of Black Friday sale or what have you on. If you want, go and check them out. So that's me saying that the Rehab Route. I will post these on social media. That's my Wednesday. Take a photo if you want it. And then I'm going to change it in 5. So please take your photos. That's your Thursday if you want to have a look at that. And I'll leave that up for a few seconds so you can take your photos. But I will definitely be putting these up on social media as well. My recommendations for what you can do to get, I don't know, just the brilliant, incredible people. I would not say, if you're not on that list, it's not like I'm calling anyone out at all, right? Because you can't necessarily judge a book by its cover. The title and the description. I'm not saying that therefore that I'm calling that saying I would disagree or wouldn't enjoy that session or it's not going to be brilliant. And there's going to be people and topics and themes that I don't know about. But it's just that I have heard from a few people say, that they're either. Well, weirdly, we've heard from a lot of people that said they're not going or they wanted to cancel their ticket, whatever, because they thought that because we're Therapy Live, people were emailing us thinking we were Therapy Expo. So we heard from a few things which has been overrepresented, admittedly. But I looked at it and thought, let's try and find a few rough diamonds here. I think there's some brilliant stuff on there. I've just shown you there's 2 days of education there. You would learn an awful lot. And so on reflection, when I said I wouldn't typically be going if it wasn't for the social and because some of my mates are there, I think maybe that was a bit harsh of me, because looking at that's going to be 2 days worth of quality back MSK CPD. So there is a route through. It's not going to be all for everyone. And it is a different style and format of show than I would choose to put on, which is why I don't put it on, right? Because we've got that. But as far as being able to get together and to network and do some in-person stuff, right? As much as we're very present digitally, it's not like we love to get together and meet more people. So we'll be doing more of that into next year. And so if there's any events you'd like us to attend, I don't know how much of our little Physio Matters thing we're going to do. I don't know if we'll do any pieces of camera or do any walkarounds and stuff. If you're interested in that and you'd like us to do that, then let us know, because me, Jim, Sarah and Jem are there. And so we could do. But fundamentally, we're going to be there just soaking it all in and having a bit of a casual one, because we're usually always working those sorts of things. So there's a little bit of work we're doing. We will be on the Rehab My Patient and the school stands at various different points, loitering, hanging around, as well as doing some sort of talks to anyone that wants to attend and hear from us. Then we will do that as a bit of a meet and greet. Really looking forward to meeting and having a drink with as many of you as I can. So do let me know if you're going to be there. Any questions, do give us a shout, and make sure that we'll tweet along and put on Insta and stuff on the hashtag, just so you know where we are if you want to come and meet us and have a drink with us, or come to any of our on-stand sessions. Do visit the school and the Rehab My Patient stands at Therapy Expo, because they have got some brilliant offers and deals, but also with you want to work with the people that have got your best interests at heart and that are producing products and services that are going to enhance your outcomes and help you through what have been mad and challenging times. And so whilst we're all getting back together, go and give a big thank you and go and say hello to who I consider to be best in class in their respects. So the school and Rehab My Patient, we're going to be on those stands as their guests over the course of Therapy Expo. So thanks a lot. I'm going to go and pick the kids up now from nursery, so I'm going to wrap up a little soon so I don't leave them in the cold and get the pram up and stuff like that. So thanks a lot for joining if you've tuned in live, and massive thanks as well to those of you that have listened to yesterday's show with Haz on racism and cricket, and we had a really interesting chat. But it last count is like 2,200 views in 24 hours. Now that is high for Tune It Over, right? Tune It Over doesn't usually do 2,000 until like a week. So you get a few hundred, either live and soon afterwards, and then you sometimes get to 1,000, 2,000, but not so quickly. So it clearly lit the touch bed for that one. A really interesting chat with him, and hopefully I can have him back on another time. If you haven't already, go and have a little listen to that. That was an interesting one that you certainly seem to have enjoyed. All right, so I hope this is actually streamed. Signal looks to have been a little bit unstable, and I'm afraid I'm a little bit nasal as well, so it's been a bit of a bodged episode, but I'm glad I did it, and I look forward to seeing as many of you as I can at Therapy Expo for a beer, if nothing else, beer and a chat. All right, take care. Cheers, guys.